We've got a group of young grads. They work for Data. They're in their second year of work. So once again, welcome to Adam, Doug, Nugu, Devin and Dean. What they plan to share with us is things that they feel are important, not the things that we feel are important. They're going to share with us some insights into the buying process, some pain points, and also things that they consider to be cool stuff. So welcome.
So a millennial, the first thing we would do is go into Google to find out what a millennial is. And we found that a millennial is born between 1981 and 1996. So if you are 38 currently, you are a millennial and you fall in the same bracket of generation as us.
But essentially what we wanted to do is, in typical millennial fashion, we refuse to be generalized. And what we wanted to do is use that process that Adam alluded to and just build out 4 personas which we feel you need to be marketing to. Firstly, the splendor spender. So with a splendor spender, we tend to find these are people who are either born into money or have recently come into money. Either way, they've got a lot of cash to spend and they're looking to spend it. If you look at their key influences, their ratings and influence in terms of initial service cost isn't too significant for them. What they do worry about is that brand consciousness behind them. These are your trendsetters, your market who are indifferent to risk. They are impulsive buyers and they are looking to purchase. Next up, we have our status seeker, where the splendor spender puts a lot of emphasis on that attention and being that trendsetter. The status seeker kind of diversifies away from that. They want to be seen to have achieved something. They want to be seen for that status and that success. These are people who have either come from nothing and seeing that owning a car is having made it, regardless of what that car could be, or people from a variety of different backgrounds who have recently been promoted or are now making big sales, and they want to kind of diversify and kind of stand out from their peers around them. And they will buy a certain type of car because of what it represents. Again, if you look at those key influencers, they weigh quite low in terms of initial and service costs, but if you look at features as well as brand consciousness, they too have big influence in that sense. Biggest concern around the status seekers is their level of financial insecurity. They will very readily pay money or present themselves to be able to afford a car that they really can't afford, to showcase that achievement, showcase that success or that person they want to be. Next up, we've got the economical enthusiast. And really, they flip everything on its head. They've got big concern for that initial and service cost. Cost is everything for them. And in terms of brand consciousness, not too perturbed. They're your long-term investors. The kind of person that would quite frankly use Uber for the rest of their life if it made more sense than owning a car, both practically as well as financially. They never make a decision without kind of looking at all the variables. And again, they're the type of personality that's going to want to trust you. They're going to make that decision based on that trust. Lastly, we've got our plain Janes. And our plain Janes are very much like most graduates are when they've left school. They've probably been given a car by their parents. Having said that, they might have bought their car. But the reason they bought the car was to get from point A to point B. They take a low level of financial risk and are pretty carefree in their decision making. So how do you, as the automotive industry, get this persona to act? How do you encourage that change?
So you've got to understand that you don't have to silo into one of these personas. You know, I would maybe consider myself over various ones, and as Doug will allude to now.
What's important for the automotive industry is to constantly be catering for all these different kind of personas and that persona overlap. And really asking yourselves those 2 questions constantly. How am I marketing to those characteristics of that persona, and how am I accommodating for them financially?
At this point, I'm going to take you through the traditional buying process that you in the room put all of us through. Realize that you need to become mobile, and that's what I came to as well, that I want to become mobile. I want to see how much it's going to cost. I really needed a bit for the glitz and the glam and the status that I'm a 21-year-old who bought her own first car, but at the same time, it has its own necessity. I want to be safe, and I want to be able to get from point A to point B rather than standing at a taxi rank in Bree to get to Bryanston. online I'm looking and checking and seeing reviews and really hearing what people have to say and really looking at a driver like me and what their experience has been with these new cars. And so that's when I get to my point of dealer comparisons and comparing different car types. What car is best suited for my lifestyle? I'm a new graduate, I'm new in corporate, and so that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at which dealership is most convenient to me in terms of distance and service, but also what kind of car really fits into my life. And then what I do from there is saying, okay, Cooks, hold on, this looks great. Can you afford it? Is the bank going to give it to you? And also, how much of an insurance risk am I really? There again, I'm clicking away, I'm on the phone, and I'm really looking at, okay, so insurance A, I'm a 21-year-old driver, I've had my license all of 3 weeks, and I need a new car in the next 4 weeks. Can we get it done? So this is where I get to my adjustment phase. I crunch the numbers, and insurance A, B, and C are saying, we'll give it to you for $1,400, the other says $1,450, and the other says, well, 1.5, 20 cents. And then I'm also getting my different figures in terms of saying, this is how much you can afford, this is what your installment would be, and it's prime plus 4% and a balloon payment of 35%. But I do have to make the comparison, and I do have to make the choice, and I do make the choice, and I'm thinking, thank goodness, I'm going to this dealership for the last time. And so this traditional process that I went to can be summed up into 4 pain points. 1, there's unstructured client engagement. I'm not understanding why I'm constantly on the phone. I need to be in long queues when I'm at the dealership. There isn't an automated way to structure my time so that I know what my day looks like. Things like that are the things that count. I need to feel like the dealership is really structuring how they engage with me, and it's in the most timely way possible. 2, there isn't necessarily personalization when the car is being presented to me. At this point, the car is being presented to me and I'm seeing all the features, all the great things, the fuel consumption, and everything that I'm going to pay, and all of that is supposed to be the hook, line, and sinker. It really isn't. As a new graduate with my first job, a family, and a social life, how does this particular car and how does your dealership fit into my lifestyle? How do I feel special and really feel like this car, this dealership, is for me as a millennial? And that's the kind of edge that I'm looking for when I'm buying my car. Thirdly, it's the lack of online innovation. There isn't necessarily an intelligent platform that goes back to the point of personalization, personalizing my info for me. There isn't any central pricing. I'm going through a website for the central brand for South Africa, and then it's every single dealership's website, and then there's different pricing for different cars and different features, and there isn't really a way that I'm seeing everything holistically, which makes it easier for me to make my choices. But lastly, it's paper-based. The process is paper-based. I am typing, I am signing, things are scanned to me that need to be printed and signed and scanned back, and it's telephones, and there isn't necessarily a way that I am being interacted with that is more convenient for me. The paper base is the inconvenience for a millennial. But I hope you can start thinking about where your dealership fits in, what your customer experience could possibly improve to be, because I've given you the bare honesty on what our pain points as millennials are.
So what is interesting to note is the fact that the realization for the need of a car, as mentioned, hasn't changed. We've got it up there, and as you can see, it's the same as the initial buying process. The way in which you want to do it has, though, and the way we want to interact with you has. We want a single platform search, and no, it doesn't have to be a desktop web page. We want an app, and we don't want an app specific to every one of your dealerships. We want a holistic view. We want one app that gives all of your information to us. On the context of information, we're happy to share ours. We know how valuable information is in the world today, and we're happy to tell you everything about us. We're happy to let you know about our approximate salaries, our lifestyle, and what we're looking to do, what we can afford. We want that information, and we want to give it to you. I also want to be sure of the car before I even come in. I want to know the 3 types of cars I could afford, how much it's going to cost me monthly, and what the insurance is going to be on that. I want to know where I could buy it. But I don't want to see you, not yet. If I could see everything online on my app, have the full car 360, understand the interior, exterior, and all the functions under the hood, that's what I want, that virtual viewing. So if I could book my test drive online, have it suit my calendar and yours, I think we'd have a fantastic starting model. Now, the next part is, as I said, our test drive. The only time I want to see you, and I should hope it's the only one time we interact, because when I walk into the shop or onto your shop floor, I don't want other cars to distract me. I know the 3 or the 1 vehicle I can afford, and that's what I'm there to see. I know where I'm going to be getting it from, and I know who's going to be giving me the keys so I can have my test drive. All we're really focusing on is the fact that you no longer sell the car, we buy it. And in that essence, we no longer need you to tell us about it because Google does. What is your value in this? What is the dealership's role? And the dealership role speaks to the user experience. And I think this is where the dealership can differentiate. Because what makes me come to your dealer or your dealership ahead of any one of yours is the fact that I'm getting a differentiated experience. The user experience dealership speaks to the after sale, and that's where your value really lies. Once we've bought the car, because we haven't had to deal with you yet, that's when you're going to make a difference, and that's when you're going to get us to keep coming back. That's what's going to keep us with a dealership. That's what's going to entice us to come back, because we don't need anything else. We just want it all, and we want it now.
Unfortunately, however, as you can see, we're not the easiest generation to sell to. What Doug has alluded to, and it will come up in some of the points that we put together now, just to leave you thinking about, is we don't like to be boxed in. But to be quite honest with you, I don't think anyone likes to be boxed in. First little fun thing we thought was cool to leave you with is Jim Hackett, who is currently the CEO of Ford. Why do we like him? His mission is to transform the vehicle industry into a transportation industry. And the second thing that Dean pointed out to us was that today, 69% of all vehicle purchases are influenced by YouTube videos. And lastly, really, and what we want to leave you with is that in the past, people went to an average of 6 different dealerships before they purchased their car. Whereas today, we're only interested in going to one. So you have got to decide how you're going to keep up with the trend and become the only dealership we go to. Because if you don't, then I really think you're talking to the wrong generation and you should probably be appealing to the top of the bottom TV. So thank you very much for having us today.